All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a really radical new theory of aging, and it's all based on this single, absolutely fascinating scientific paper. It basically suggests that the very process that builds our bodies is also kind of designed to tear them down. So, yeah, let's get right into it.
So why do we age? I mean, it's the question, right? It's something humanity has been wrestling with forever. And for decades, science has basically had two main explanations on the table. But honestly, neither one has ever felt quite right.
On one side, you've got this idea of random damage. The theory that our bodies just wear out, like a machine breaking down from all the little errors that build up over time. And then on the other side, there's the death program theory. This one's a bit different. It says aging is actually written into our code, an evolutionary trick to make room for new generations. But, both of these ideas have always felt a little incomplete. But what if it's neither of those? This is where the paper we're looking at today just completely flips the script. It argues that aging isn't a mistake, and it's not some kind of death wish. Nope. It's the unavoidable price we pay for being complex, for just being us. And to really get this, we've got to look at these two competing forces that are at work inside our very own genome. So the theory goes that our genome isn't just one big instruction manual. It's really two functional parts with very, very different jobs. You can think of them as the workers and the architects of your body. First up, you have the housekeeping genes. These are like the ancient, super reliable workers. Their job is pretty simple: take care of the basic needs of every single cell. We're talking repair, energy, just plain survival. They let each cell function on its own, almost like it was still a single-celled organism. And then you've got the integrative genes. These are the architects, the project managers. Their job has nothing to do with caring for one individual cell. Instead, their job is to organize trillions of cells into one cohesive whole, to build skin, bone, hearts, brains. They're the ones that create the complex organism. Okay, now here is the absolute core idea of this whole theory. The story of our life, from start to finish, is basically a power struggle between these two forces. It's a constant trade-off between the freedom of the single cell and the needs of the organism as a whole. Okay, so let's track how this power struggle plays out over a whole lifetime. That's a process called ontogenesis. When you're just an embryo, it's all about those housekeeping genes. They're in total control, letting cells grow like crazy, totally autonomous. Then, as you grow up, the integrative genes, our architects, start to step in and take charge, telling cells what to specialize in. By the time you're an adult, their activity is at its absolute peak, just maintaining all the complex machinery of your body. But here's the twist. In old age, that control becomes rigid. It actually starts to suppress the crucial work of the housekeeping genes, and that's when the whole system gets thrown out of balance. This chart really shows that inchy shift in action. See, in youth, the workers, the housekeeping genes, are way more active. In maturity, things are pretty much balanced with the architects. But look what happens as we get older. The architect's activity just skyrockets, completely overpowering the workers. The very system that built you now starts to hem you in. And that's the fundamental trade-off right there. To create a complex, coordinated organism, the individual parts, the cells, have to give up some of their freedom. They have to surrender some of their ability to just endlessly repair and renew themselves. So how does this actually happen? Well, the mechanism has a name. It's called epigenetic restriction. Now, epigenetic just means it doesn't change your actual DNA sequence. The architects don't go in and rewrite the worker's instruction manual. They just kind of put sticky notes on certain pages, essentially turning down the volume on those genes. This restriction is what the paper calls the functional tax. It's the price every cell pays to be part of the big club that is your body. In the beginning, this tax is absolutely essential. It creates order, it allows for all this incredible complexity. But over a lifetime, that bill starts to come due. The very solution that makes us, well, that's what eventually becomes the problem. And here are the consequences of paying that tax for decades. Because those housekeeping genes are being suppressed, the body's fundamental ability to repair itself just tanks. DNA damage starts to pile up. Tissues don't get replaced properly. And we, the organism, become less adaptable, more fragile. The architects, in their relentless quest for order, have effectively starved the maintenance crew. This quote from one of the authors really nails it. Limiting the cell's autonomy to build the whole organism eventually ends up damaging that very same organism. It's just a huge, profound paradox at the heart of our existence. So, the big takeaway here is this. According to this theory, aging isn't a bug. It's not a glitch or some mysterious death program. It's a baked-in feature of our developmental software. It's an unavoidable side effect of becoming complex in the first place. But that leads to a tantalizing question. If we understand the program, can we hack it? And this brings us to the most provocative part of this whole idea, the razor-thin line between reversing aging and unleashing something much, much worse. And this right here, shows the incredible, kind of terrifying tightrope our biology is walking. If you get too much integration, too much control from the architects, the whole system gets rigid, repair just stops working, and, well, you get aging. But if you swing the pendulum the other way and give the worker cells too much autonomy, that leads to out-of-control growth, and that's cancer. They're literally two sides of the very same coin. So could there be a path forward? Theoretically, yes. The idea would be to create a controlled, temporary shift back towards the housekeeping genes. You'd want to briefly reawaken that deep cellular autonomy to allow for some profound repair and renewal. But, and this is everything, it has to be manageable and, most importantly, reversible. The goal isn't to slide back into developmental chaos. It's to create a loop in our own development, to basically hit a reset button. And that just leaves us with the ultimate question, doesn't it? This theory presents this powerful, really elegant model for why we age. It frames it not as a failure, but as the price for our own incredible complexity. The challenge now, the billion-dollar question, is to see if we can get a refund on that price, to learn how to rewind the clock just enough without completely breaking the entire machine.